Hello, everyone. I'm Caitlin Moore from Union Bank and Trust. And today we're going to be going through three different topics: Banking 101, fraud and scams, and Investing 101. So to get started, we're going to start with Banking 101. This probably should have been at the beginning of our presentations 5 weeks ago, but it's just an overview of how the bank works, who's there, who you're going to see when you walk in the door. I'm going to quickly breeze over this. But if you do have questions about any of these people and what they do, please let me know. So let's get started on that. So a branch and a drive-through. If you hear about a branch, not all branches have drive-throughs. So a branch is just a separate location for the bank. So UBT has a lot of branches throughout Lincoln. Think of it as a tree. When we say branch, so the trunk of the tree is UBT. That's the tree. The whole thing without the trunk is useless. So we have UBT as our trunk, but we have different branches of this tree. So we have different locations. It's still UBT, and you can go into any location at any time and still get your banking done. A lot of people use the same branch just based off where they're located, but you're welcome to use whatever branch you'd like. We do have a lot of drive-throughs. A lot of banks have drive-throughs. Not all of them have drive-throughs. So if you're looking to not get out of your car, which is a great option, especially last year during COVID, you're going to want to find a branch that has a drive-through. Now, most of our downtown locations, except for Depot, it's that train station looking one on O Street. A lot of them just don't have drive-throughs just based on their location. So you could do most of your banking through a drive-through without getting out of your car. It's not a problem. You can open up accounts or, put in cash, get cash, anything through a drive-through. It might be easier to go in and talk to someone, but you don't have to. So just know that you never really have to get out of your car if you're looking to bank. And most banks would offer that same service if they have a drive-through. So let's talk about who you're going to meet at the bank. There's plenty of people. Now, again, I'm going to talk about UBT. Not all banks have the same amount of people there. They have similar positions. They might be called something else. So if you bank at another bank and you're thinking it's called something else, you're absolutely right. This is just what we're calling them at UBT. And I'm just going to go through who they are and what they do. A lot of people are very hesitant to walk into a bank because there's too many people there and they don't know what to do. So I'm going to kind of walk through that idea of if you were to walk into a bank for the first time, who you would talk to, especially if you need certain things. So to start off with, we're going to talk about support staff. We have a couple locations that have just an administrative assistant. She or he is sitting there right by the door, and that's probably the first person that you're going to see. And usually they'll say, "Hi, how can I help you today?" And you could tell them why you're there. I need to put in some cash. I need to get some cash. I need to open up an account. I need to open up a business account. I need a loan. And they'll point you in the right direction. It's really nice when you have a support staff person there because they'll tell you where to go. But if you don't, that's okay. But just know that if there's someone right there by the door, it's really so they can kind of direct traffic on where you should go. A teller. Most banks call their tellers tellers. A teller is most of the time who you're going to deal with, unless you have like a very specific thing to do. So they're the ones that stand up there at the counter or at the window and they take your cash. They'll give you cash. They'll help you with deposits, withdrawals, money orders, account management, just your basic banking. Most of the things that we do is done through a teller. Now, if you want to get more specific, they'll help guide you to where you need to go. So when in doubt, if that support staff isn't there, just going up to the main counter and then telling them what you need, they will point you in that right direction. A personal banker. So this is a person that's going to help you individually identify some of your goals and then recommend certain products. And when I say products, I mean checking accounts, savings accounts, credit cards, debit cards, loans, things like that. That's what we at the bank call a product, different types of accounts or services. So a personal banker, you might go in and tell the teller, "Oh, I need to open up a checking and savings account," and they're going to pass you off to a personal banker. Usually you're in an office or sitting at a desk when you're working with a banker, and it takes a little bit longer than it would a teller. Tellers can't open up accounts. They have to pass you off to a banker just because of time management reasons. So bankers will help you identify some of your needs, and there's some things that they can't do, like open up a loan for you, but they will pass you off to the person that can. Derek, I'm not sure why I can't mute you, but if you don't mind muting yourself, that'd be great. Thank you. Okay, so loan officers. Loan officers are the individuals that help you get home loans, car loans. We call them ready loans. Those would be like personal loans and much more. So, any type of loan, there's a specific person for that. And the reason for that is that they do a lot of paperwork with you and they'll follow you through the life of the loan. So, if you've ever bought a house, it takes about a month, maybe even longer to go through the whole process. And your loan officer is doing all the work in the background. Loan officers have pretty hefty jobs as far as paperwork goes, but they're usually a really great point person for you. So you're assigned one loan officer and that person follows you through. Next one, assistant branch managers. These are the people typically responsible for handling the daily operations. So they kind of do a little bit of everything and making sure things are going smoothly. They can sit in wherever they need to. So if they need to be a teller or a banker or a loan officer, they can typically do a lot of that stuff. But they're the ones that kind of are doing the backdrop things. Now, if there's an issue, there's a conflict, the assistant branch manager will often be the one that you'll talk to. They help override certain things or they help just with basic things around the branch, but they kind of keep it functioning. And then we have a branch manager, and that's really the person who oversees everything that goes on in the branch. So mainly it's people. So it's really they're overseeing the people at the branch rather than the customers. Now, they're completely supportive of the customer and they can do all the jobs in the branch, but they're really there to just keep the branch going overall. So there's a lot of services at a bank that you can get. Now, not all branches or locations offer certain services. I know for UBT, all of our loan stuff is done, not all of it, but like home loans, people are housed in certain locations, things like that. So even safe deposit boxes, those are not all at a branch at every location. So if you're looking for a particular service, you may want to call ahead if it's not your typical service that you're looking for. But we're so typically at a bank, you can open up bank accounts, checking your savings account. You go and deposit money or withdraw money. You apply for loans, apply for credit cards. You can get a safe deposit box, and I'll explain what that is. There's financial planning. Those are usually typically housed in one location. Business banking, those are housed in one location. Financial planning often has to do with investments. There's retirement services. Not all banks offer retirement planning. I know UBT does. And so there's a lot of services that we offer. Now, if you're shopping around for a bank, I'm not trying to talk you into anything, but if you need something in particular, go online before you go in anywhere and just see if they offer what you need. Because if they don't do business banking and you need a business account, you're wasting your time. If you need a safe deposit box and they don't have them, you're wasting your time. So it's a little bit easier to go online and just check out different locations or banks near you if you're looking around for a bank. So some of the security at the bank. Now, I know there's a lot of cultural differences in the way that we view banking. Lincoln in particular is a huge hub for refugees, and we just have it's just a great culture within the culture. We have people from all over the world here in Lincoln. But that tends to lead to very distinct cultural differences as far as how secure our money is in a bank. There's different cultures, there's different countries that do not utilize banks as we do in America. And so I wanted just to talk about like the security that goes into the bank, what we are required to do by law to keep your money safe. So at our particular banks, we have secured doors. You cannot get into UBT without either ringing the doorbell. We have double doors, so you can go in the first ones, but not the second. Or if you bank with us, you take out your debit card or your credit card and you swipe it at the door. And that's actually your key card to get in the door. Um, so we have a lot of security. There's cameras all over the place. So even when you're at the door and you ring the doorbell, they might ask, "Hi, what can I help you with?" They're really making sure that whoever walks in the door is safe, doing the best they can. You're going to always want to bring your ID because I could walk up to the counter and say, "I'm Caitlin Moore." But if the person doesn't know me, then they're not going to know that for sure. But they're required by law to still check your ID. So I may work at the bank and I could go up to the teller and say, "Hi, I'm Caitlin Moore. I work in marketing." And they could know who I am, but they're still required to check my ID. So you're going to always want to bring that. Safe deposit boxes. If you don't know what those are, they are boxes in the vault. So we have vaults in our branches, just like on TV. It's a giant metal box that is fireproof and weatherproof. It's usually in the basement somewhere. If we have a basement, it's got a big turnkey. It's required to have codes and keys involved to get it unlocked. But inside that are little boxes that you can rent, and you can put certain things in it. And we'll talk about what you can and can't put in there. But all safe deposit boxes need 2 keys. One of the keys belongs to you and one of them belongs to the branch. And so in order to get into that box, you have to be present with your key, and an employee from the bank has to have a key. So if you put 1 key in, it's not going to unlock it. You have to have 2 keys. So it's very secure in that way. But also you have to go through the channels of checking your ID and things like that. We never give out your account information, no matter what. If I walk in the bank and say, I want to put some money in my sister's account, and her name is Natalie, they could go, okay, they'll take the money and deposit it. But if I were to walk in the bank and say, I need to deposit money for Natalie, can you give me her account balance or anything like that? They can't do that. And actually, I would have to confirm a lot of information about my sister in order to put money into her account, but I cannot take any money out of it. So they won't even give you a receipt back. I cannot walk into the bank and go, does Natalie Spencer or Natalie Moore work here? Or excuse me, bank here? They could not tell me that. I would have to confirm that she banks there before they could even do anything first. So they never give out your account information. We're FDIC insured up to $250,000 per account owner. So you've probably seen a commercial where they've said FDIC insured. They say it at the end. I just did a commercial over College World Series that was on the radio, and that was the last thing I had to say on there was FDIC insured. What that means is the federal government insures you and your account up to $250,000. So let's say I have $5,000 in my account. There's fraud. It gets stolen. I bank at a FDIC insured bank. I get that money back. Any sort of fraud on your account, you are covered with that insurance. It's just something offered to you. So whenever you're banking at a new bank, you want to make sure they're FDIC insured. All the big banks are, credit unions are insured, but not by the FDIC. They're insured by a smaller thing. So it looks a little bit different. So individually, you are insured up to $250,000 on your account. Staff is also trained to ask questions and to take precautions. They're highly, highly trained to make sure that you are who you are. If you're on the phone and you're talking to a teller, they're gonna try to talk to you about certain things because they don't know if there's somebody. We get a lot of scams where people are on the phone, and we're going to talk about that, trying to get people to take out money, withdrawals about a certain amount, things like that. So they're highly trained to take precautions when it comes to the customer standing in front of them. They're also tested and regularly audited on a regular basis, at least twice a year, if not more. So everything that they do is accounted for by law every single day. There's a lot that goes into being a teller. There's a lot of responsibility and accountability. Staff approaches you personally. So if you go to the same bank or the same branch all the time, they're going to get to know you, which is really nice. At UBT, if you have a dog, bring in your dog. We have stuff for them. UBT loves when you bring in your dog. But they love to get to know you if you go to the same branch. They get to know your story. They get to know you and your family and things like that. And it's a lot easier to get accounts when people know who you are, or for them to trust you. You know, if you call and go, oh, I overdrafted, it was just a one-time mistake, they're more likely to give you your overdraft feedback. So it's always a good idea if you could go to the same bank, the same branch, to do so. If you can't, that's okay. But our staff doesn't necessarily go branch to branch. They might cover, but you're going to see the same people all the time at the branches that you go to, which is really nice. Back to that safe deposit box. I just want to explain a little bit more about it. The customer has the key and the branch has the key. Like I said, you have to have 2 keys to open up the box, not just one. The box is in the vault, and that's tightly secured and fireproof. So you would be escorted down to the vault, where you would be left there. The branch employee might stand outside, or they may just leave you. There is cameras around the vault, but you can go into the vault yourself. You're not locked in there, I promise. And do your business with your box. once it's unlocked by both parties. You need to know your number and have your key. The bank associate will open the box for you and leave you with your box. So you need to know where it is. And if you don't know where it is, or you don't know the number, you don't have the key, you're not going to have access to it. The bank can't get into the box without that second key, but also that is a red flag to us that maybe you should not be getting into that box and it's not yours. The costs vary. So you're renting this box. We have little boxes to big boxes. It varies month by month. And you do not have to be an account holder. Most safe deposit boxes at banks, you don't have to bank there in order to use one. So some people put certain things in their safe deposit box at different banks, just so it's a little more secure, so nobody knows it's there. And some of the things you should or shouldn't put in a safe deposit box, these are what you should. Documents like wills or your trust, passports, social security cards. That's a great thing to put in your box. It's fireproof. And weatherproof. Jewelry. Some people keep valuable jewelry in the safe deposit box because it's worth a lot of money and they'd rather not keep it in their home. And then personal items that you don't want to use that have value. Those are good to fit in your box if you have a big enough box. Things that you should not, and it is not allowed to be put in your box, are weapons, illegal substances, illegal objects, cash, or other currency. Here's the reason why they suggest not putting cash or other currency. If something were to happen to that cash, it's not insured. So if you're just locking it up somewhere, you should probably just get a bank account, because then if there's any problems with the money or it I don't know, something happens, that money's insured by the FDIC. So you're going to get that money back. Some people will go out of the country and take that currency that they had and put in their safe deposit box. But again, it's not insured. So if something were to happen to it, then that it's on you as the account holder or the box renter. So safe deposit boxes are available at some of our branches, but not all. And again, you don't have to be a customer in order to rent one. Any questions on any of this for the banking 101 as I change screens here?
So if you lose your key for that safe, is there any way to get a new one?
That's a really great question. I don't know the answer to that, but I will find out an answer for you. That is a good question. I'm going to write it down. I've never worked in a branch, so I don't know the answer. There's probably going to be a series of questions that you have to go through, but
yeah, for sure. And identification and all that. Yeah.
Bear with me. I will try to get an answer out to Thomas as soon as possible to email out to all of you. That's a great question. And if there's other questions that I don't know the answer to, somebody just shared their screen. I'm going to take that off there. Okay, I'm going to share another screen here. We're going to go through fraud and scams now. Let me know if it shows up. Can everybody see that? Can somebody let me know?
Yep.
Yes. Okay, great. Okay, so we're going to go through fraud and scams now. Again, ask some questions if you'd like. If I don't know the answer, I'll get it for you. But these are recent fraud and scams that the bank deals with. I recently put out a podcast probably about a month ago for UBT. I have a podcast called Money Better. It's a really great one. A lot of information in there. I promise it's not boring, but you could pick your topic too. But we did one on fraud and scams, and I interviewed the head guy at LPD who is in charge of white collar crime. So what he does for a living is deal with money issues within Lincoln, Nebraska, and he works with the FBI also on these things because a lot of them are interconnected. So some of the stories I'm going to tell you are in there, but if you want to listen to that, it's a really good one. You can find it on all podcast sites or even on our YouTube, or if you go to ubt.com and go to education, you'll see podcasts. So it's me, and I'm sitting in this chair doing a podcast. So it's really, really interesting though, if you're interested in how money is being filtered in and out of Lincoln and what's happening. But I'm going to talk about some of the main frauds that our customer service sees a lot. And this isn't just exclusive to UBT. This is like all banks are seeing this. So we're going to go through different frauds and scams that's going on right now. And I'm going to kind of help you with how to be precautionary about it. If the slides are not working, I need somebody to tell me because I'm going to start flipping slides, but I know that happened once. So please just let me know. Okay, so let's talk about social media scams first. This is a big one. All social media sites are dealing with scams at some level, and it's because it's becoming way easier to send money through all these apps. Most of the social media apps have some way to connect a bank account, connect a debit card, and send money. I know, even know Facebook Messenger, you can send Apple Pay through them. It's very easy. And so there's a lot of scams that are heading that way. It's also easy to get away with talking to someone that you can't confirm you're really talking to. So one of the ways that scammers are using social media is they're messaging you. They're hacking into someone else's I'm going to use Facebook for an example. I might be dating myself because I know that a lot of people don't use Facebook anymore, but I'm going to do it anyway. So they're hacking into Facebook's and they'll message a friend. And so let's say I get a message from my friend Michael, and Michael starts talking to me on Messenger. Now I know Michael. He lives in Omaha. It's not a problem. And I'm talking to him, and he's, we're just chatting like we normally would, but then he requests money from me. Now, I may not think twice about it. Like, oh, okay, Michael. Yeah, I know Michael. If he needs some money, I'll send him some money. And then it just goes from there. Now, a lot of people are doing this where they're hacking into the social media sites and reaching out. And they use a lot of language. They try to use the same language, but if they don't, then that might be a red flag. But they'll test the waters for a moment to see if you'll actually take the bait. Because if Michael wasn't one that I would talk to on Messenger, then maybe I would start asking questions like, why are you messaging me? Like, why aren't you texting me or calling me? Or I'm going to see you next week. Like, why are you even talking to me on here? And then the fraudster will usually, let go of that conversation. So if things seem a little bit off with the person that's contacting you, you may want to ask your own questions for a little while. But their main way of scamming you is to request that you send them money. And there's usually a reason behind it. For example, they might say, you can make some fast cash, which requires you to receive money in your account. And then you're going to send money back. So let's say that you sold something on Marketplace. I do this all the time. I sell things on Marketplace all the time. And so somebody messages me and we're making the deal, and they're like, well, I have this check. I'll send you the money. I'll deposit it in your account, but I'm overpaying you. So you need to send money back. That is a fraud. Absolutely. I'm being scammed. And you need to be cautious about this, because if they're putting a check into my account, it's going to take a couple days for that check to clear, which means it takes a couple days for my bank to get the money from their bank. But in the meantime, this fraudster is asking me to send back some money. And they're asking me to say, like, let's say they overpaid me by $50 because I sold something on Marketplace. They're saying, hey, I need you to send me back $50. So I see the deposit in my account. They put in 100, but it's still pending because that money is still being transferred between banks. But they're saying, send me back 50. Now, by the time that money gets transferred, it's going to come up a fraud and the money's not going to get transferred. The bank's going to go, this person doesn't exist, but I've already sent the money and it's out of my account. So that's where the fraud comes in, is I'm sending money before it's cleared. So you want to be really careful about that. Social media scams are doing this on all platforms, and they're doing various things. One of the things you need to just recognize and really put your red flags out for is you just shouldn't send money to anyone you don't recognize. I mean, that's kind of easy. That's an easy ask. If you don't know who they are, don't send them money. But what about the people like Michael that I think I know who Michael is? Why would I not send him money? Or, why wouldn't he be talking to me? Things like that. Well, I need to be cautious about that. I need to start thinking of like, you know what? Michael doesn't talk to me on Messenger. He texts me or he calls me. Or I might think, does this person ever ask me for money? Have they asked me for money? Are they are there a friendship or relationship deep enough that I would be the right person for them to ask for money? Now, if Michael asked me for money, I'd probably go, why the heck are you asking me for money? That's super weird, because I know Michael personally, and I know that he has parents that could give him money. or closer friends or siblings, things like that, where it would make more sense. Why would he be asking me? That seems silly. So you need to start asking yourself these questions. Does it really fit the mold? Does this make sense as to why they're asking me for money? Um, Also, if somebody asks you for money over social media, you may want to reach out to them, especially if you have their phone number, or you know where they live or something like that. Stop talking to them on the social media site and call them and go, "Hey, you just asked me for money. Is that legit?" It's okay to ask questions. It's your money. So you need to ask where it's actually going if you're willing to give it in the first place. So never hesitate to ask questions when people are asking you for money. If you suspect a social media scam, so somebody is reaching out to you on social media, stop communicating with them immediately. Like I said, reach out to them by phone or however else that you would reach them. Update your password and security authentication. Oh my gosh, I can't say it. Security authorization. We'll go with that. Update those, because a lot of times our technology, even you responding back to them, they can get into your phone or your computer and hack that. So you need to update your password immediately. Alert the person that's being scammed too. So I would probably need to tell Michael by phone, "Hey, I think your account got hacked. You should probably change your password." If you have paid a scammer, gift cards is the biggest one that they're going to ask for. Alert the issuing company. So if it's a Visa or MasterCard, if you have the receipt, hang on to those type of things. They can cancel the cards sometimes, but gift cards are really hard to get your money back, which is why scammers use it. And we'll talk about that. Never, ever, ever, ever give your personal information out to somebody over social media, especially your bank account. Scammers right now are just saying, "Hey, I have this check. If you just give me your online credentials, your sign in, I'll just deposit the check." Because most banking apps have the ability to deposit a check just through your phone. So you just take a picture of the front and back and you could deposit the check. You never have to go to the bank. That's a really nice feature. But a lot of scammers are saying, "Hey, I've got this. I'll just deposit it into your account. So send me your UBT online credentials. I'll log in as you and deposit this account." Never do that. Never, ever, ever do that. Please. If you do, you need to call your bank as soon as possible and ask them to stop that payment, things like that. You never want them to know your online information, because they can then use your account number and all of your passwords and stuff and start spending money out of your account immediately. They're not going to deposit that cash. It is a scam. They're just going to steal whatever money is in your account as soon as possible, because scammers have a way to do that very quickly. If you identified a deposit into your account, so if you go on your online banking and you see a deposit, somebody's put money into your account that you have no idea about it, contact your bank, because likely it's a scammer and they're going to try to reach out to you. Like I said in the banking 101 piece, I could go deposit money into my sister's account. I know her birthday. I know her address, things like that. So I can get money into her account. So a fraudster can easily do that, especially if you put a lot of information on social media. They can often just figure out where you bank. It's very easy. LPD was telling me this. So if you see money that goes into your account that you don't know what it is, you need to contact your bank, because they can figure out who put it in there. A romance scam. I'm actually going to skip over this. No, there's another one at the end that's very similar that we'll skip. I'll go through this one. So romance scams. So this is like online dating. Okay. So online dating is a really easy platform to be scammed financially, simply because we're on dating sites and we don't know if the other person is who they are. We don't know if we're being catfished. We have no idea if they're using real photos. That's kind of the risk of online dating is this person who they say they are? And so the way that scammers are doing this right now is they're getting involved with somebody online, but they make a connection really quick. It goes from 0 to 100 in a very short amount of time. On the other spectrum, they're taking a long time to scam you. They'll wait 6-9 months to try to get money out of you because they're trying to build this relationship. So on the short end of things, they're making connections. They're saying all the right things. They're sending you messages. They're gaining your trust very quickly. And they're going to eventually ask you for money because you're bonded to them. You're emotionally attached to them. And it's easy to say, oh, I should give this person money. As a cliche as this may be, and maybe you've heard about this, they'll claim to be doctors or servicemen living overseas, and they want to make future plans with you, or if there's a accident that happened or something has happened, there's an emergency and they need money now. They'll say it's overseas because then they're less likely to be able to just go to a bank and get money. So they're asking you, your trusted, emotionally attached relationship, to send them money. This is also a good way for them to hide, is if they're overseas on, they're in the military or they're a doctor, maybe they can't disclose their location, they can't be on FaceTime. There's things like that. There's always an excuse as to why you've never seen them before. Maybe you've talked to them on the phone. That's a totally different topic, but you've never seen them before on FaceTime, Zoom, things like that. So you want to be really, really careful, and just know that this is a very typical scam for a scammer to get involved with someone very quickly and then ask for money, but you have no way of identifying them. You have no idea who they are. Very, very typical scam. So please put your red flags up for that. Please don't send money. Because it is likely a scammer, which, as hard as that is to take because you're emotionally attached, it is a reality. It's a very easy scam that scammers are using. On the long-term one, you may be involved with someone online for 6-9 months, like a really long time, but you've never seen their face. You've never talked to them on FaceTime or any of the video chatting, because you can even video chat on Snap and things like that. It's too easy to talk to someone now on video. And so if somebody is unwilling to do that, your red flags should go up. Just a little online dating tip. There's no reason people can't talk on video anymore. They may be out of state, and that's fine. If that's your preference, that's fine. But there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to see them on a video. And so if somebody is creating this relationship long term and you've never seen them on video, I've heard of people like they have been on video, but the other person keeps theirs off. That should be a huge, huge red flag right off the bat. But scammers are doing this and they're taking a long time to build up a relationship, and then they're going to ask for money. So maybe they want to move to be closer to you, or maybe something's come up and it becomes a relationship kind of conversation of, if you loved me, you would do this. If you want to be with me, you would do this. So we're way more attached at this point, but they're scamming you in the long term. But you need to know a couple things. This is what LPD said, and this is what even UBT has said. If you are in one of those relationships that you have not seen the person yet, and it's all online, you are likely not the only one that they're scamming. They may have several catfish situations going on. And they're going to see who's going to scam, who they can easily scam. They're learning about you and they're learning certain things about you. They may even find out where you bank. I mean, it's not hard to figure out where people bank, especially you could pull up a map and see what's close by. It's not hard to learn details about someone via social media or even online dating apps, things like that. So you are likely not the only one. It is a scammer, and they're going to do the same thing to you as they are everyone else, but they are just trying to get money from you in the end, but they're going to get you very, very emotionally tied to them where you're willing to do that. So if that's kind of a pattern of what's happening, just know that it's likely a scam. A lot of times they're asking for gift cards. They'll ask for money, especially people who claim to be overseas. They'll say, hey, don't send me money, send me a gift card. I can use it at Walmart. I can use it at big box stores that may be universal. And they're asking you, or Visa, MasterCard gift cards. They're asking you to do that. And this is why. You can go get a gift card. Even if, say, you go to the store and get a Visa gift card and then you send them the front and the back of it, they instantly get those numbers and they transfer that money off of that gift card into their account or onto a different gift card. There is a way to do that. And so within a minute of you giving them numbers, they've taken that money off of that gift card that you got them, and it's gone forever. You will never get that money back. It's very, very easy to be scammed with a gift card. You give them they'll ask you for your PIN number so they can get cash. So they might say, hey, give me your online credentials or give me your PIN number. There's a way to still access your cash. That they're able to do that if you give them your PIN. So don't do that. They might ask you to wire money to them because they're overseas. Wires are very hard, though they're traceable. It's very hard to get the money back because if I instantly put money into your account, you can instantly move that money out of your account. So it's very hard in the end to get that money back. Wires are easily tracked, so it does help a little bit, but it's instant. And so that money disappears real fast. But if they're asking you to send them money in various forms of currency, it is likely a scam. And we're going to get into another way that people are using gift cards that is just, it's bad. So never send money, gifts, or gift card codes to someone you haven't met in person. This should just be an all around rule of thumb if you're dating online. It doesn't matter if you've been with the person for a year or 2 years. If you've never met them in person or you've never even seen their face, that's not fair to you. Do not send money because they're just going to keep asking you for money and it is a scam. And as long as you give them money, they're going to keep asking. You may also have seen their face. I could sit in my office in my basement and you have no idea where I am. If I didn't have UBT behind me on a poster, you would have no idea where I worked. So you could still see me, but you have no idea where I am. So somebody could say, oh, I'm in the military. I'm based in wherever around the world, but they could be here in Lincoln, Nebraska. So just because you've seen them too, doesn't mean that it's realistic. So there should be a rule of thumb that you adopt that just says, if you haven't met them in person, you don't know them in person, then you should not be sending money because you were likely being scammed. And what you should do if you do suspect you are being scammed, stop communicating. As hard as it's going to be emotionally, it's going to be harder on your wallet. Talk to someone you trust and pay attention to what your friends and family say. So this is just something that should be happening anyway, as if you're dating online, is keep somebody in the loop because there is so much scam going on besides money. It's very risky to date online. I get it. I'm single. I've got dating apps. I get it. It's very risky no matter what. And you always want to keep somebody informed of what you're doing. And then also pay attention to what their feedback is. Because if I tell my best friend I'm going on a date, maybe she's going to give me some feedback. But if I told her I'm dating this guy that lives overseas and we've been talking for 6 months and giving her all the details, she might go, wait, this doesn't sound right. But she's not emotionally attached to the situation. So she might be able to give me some insight that I can't see because I have my blinders up. So it's always just a good idea, especially when it comes to money, that you bring someone into the scenario and get some extra feedback because somebody might be able to see something that you just can't see because you're emotionally involved. There is a federal complaint site, ftc.gov/complaint, that if you are being scammed online, they really want to know about it. LPD would like to know about it. If you're in Lincoln, OPD would like to know about it. They're tracking all this stuff. And there are a lot of scams, if you listen to the podcast, that come out of Texas and New Jersey that hit us really hard in Lincoln. These scammers are calling and they are typically located in Texas and New Jersey. It's happening all over, but there's connections. And so LPD is able to contact the FBI and they might say, oh, we can work with the New Jersey Police Department that this money is going to. So there's ways that they work. LPD works with the federal government in order to track these scammers. They really want to know too. And this officer said to me, if we don't know what's going on in our community, we can't protect you from it. And so they really, really want to know what's happening. So if you just call their non-emergency line and say, hey, I was just scammed, which is, if you're in Lincoln, it's 402-441-6000. That is their non-emergency line. You can call them anytime and talk to a dispatcher and they'll connect you to the white collar crimes when it has to do with money. If you did send money in any way, contact your bank. If you use your bank credentials, because they could freeze your account, meaning nothing can come in or out. They could also track it. They could definitely try to get your money back. There's a lot of ways the bank can do that. So contact your bank as soon as possible. And then also update your online information if you did. You might need to open up new accounts. The banks are really, really, really good at telling you what to do next if you have fraud on your account. Sometimes the only thing that you could do is change your account number, which is a pain. I get it, but it keeps you from having more fraud on your account. So if you have given away your bank account number, your online credentials, the bank might say the best thing to do is change your account. They might just freeze your account for a little bit, make sure nothing comes and goes that's suspicious. That's kind of best case scenario, but you need to contact them right away. Have your account number, have your social security number that they can verify. But if you have given any of that information away, the bank is actually a really good guide for who you should call next. They might say you should call LPD next, OPD, whomever. They'll give you that guidance. And you can also call UBT if you suspect fraud, even if you don't bank with us, because we'll tell you if that's happening or not. So if it's through social media or online dating apps, we'll actually guide you through that. And you don't even have to have banked with us. We're happy to help you with that because it helps us to know what's going on too, because our customer support team talks about this stuff. They share the stories that their customers are giving them about fraud, and we're all kind of kept in the loop with that. Any questions about the romance scammers? I keep getting the question in my chat box, why? I'm not sure what the question is going to, so you might need to clarify what you are asking. But we will move on to social security scams. I call it social security scams, but it's really, if you're getting any sort of calls, if you're getting extra services from like social security or trying to think disability, that's another one. It's the same thing. So we're just going to focus on social security, but if you're receiving disability, which is out of social security, this kind of goes with the same thing. So a lot of people are being scammed, especially the older generation with social security or disability, and they get calls. They get robocalls or live calls from the fraudster pretending to be a government employee. They claim that there's been identity theft on your account, problems with your social security number, your account number, benefits, all that stuff. So they're going to identify an issue that you may be involved with. But then there's threats of legal action that come with this. So they're saying there's been a breach with your number, and if you do not take care of it right now, we have to arrest you, or we're going to arrest a family member or something like that. They actually may offer to increase your benefits or protect your assets or resolve the identity theft, but you have to take care of it right now. This is false. So they'll say, you know what? If you give me certain information, I'll increase your benefits, your social security benefits. And you could see why they're targeting older generation, because there are people that are living off social security. And so if they can get an increase in those benefits, that's going to be really great for them. And that's very appealing to them. They may demand a payment via gift card. This is very popular. Cash, wire transfer, or internet currency. That's becoming more and more popular. So all this to say is, if you're getting a call, a live call or robocall about social security or disability benefits, that's not how it works. Literally, social security office will not call you. They send letters. They do not call you. The IRS will not call you. ICE will not call you. They send letters. So if anybody calls and says there's any fraud on your account or they can increase your benefits, what they're going to ask next is, I need you to verify your account number and verify your social security number. So if somebody were to call me and say, I need you to verify your account number, Caitlin, I'm going to say no. This is how they're getting your account number. They don't have your account number. They don't have your social security number. They're asking you to verify it. And so you're giving it to them, which means they're writing it down. Okay. That's the problem right there, is anything they're asking you to verify, they're just writing down. They may even ask you to verify your birth date, because that's a question that might come up, or the last four of your social security number, something like that. They might say, okay, for verification reasons, what is your mother's maiden name? With social security, that's what they track. That's one of their security questions, is what's your mother's maiden name? So they might ask that, and then I'm going to give that to them. And then suddenly they have all of my information, and they're going to do what they want with that. So they will not call you. So if you do get a call from a government employee or someone claiming to be a government employee, what you say to them is, I will call you back. Don't take a number from them. You get online or you call LPD and you say, you go online and you look at Social Security office and you get their number and you call them. Any government employee that's calling you is not specific to your case. Anyone that you call should be able to answer the questions that you have. So if I call back to the Social Security office here in Lincoln, I should be able to talk to anybody there about the issue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to Google Social Security office, Lincoln, Nebraska, and I'm going to call them and I'm going to say, hey, I got this call and they're saying there's fraud on my account, whatever account that is. And they're going to verify that or tell me it's fraud. And they're going to go from there. So you should never hesitate to hang up on the caller and call back. So you Google the number, you call someone and ask if, what the number is. Call LPD and say, hey, I got a call from a Social Security rep and they're saying there's fraud on my account. Who should I call back to verify this information? LPD would love to know that that's happening. They want to know that that's happening. Also, Social Security office, any government employee, they cannot take payment. They will never take payment that way. There's a way to set up payments if you owe them back taxes or something like that, but they do not require payment. So if any of them ever ask for a payment of any sort, it's not legit. Nobody should take a payment. And then on top of that, why would a government employee from the Social Security office ask for a gift card? That doesn't make sense. So we need to start using brain power here and going, this doesn't fit the mold. Why would anybody ask for a gift card in this situation? I owe them back taxes. So the IRS wants gift cards to Walmart. That should be a red flag. That's not a reality. The government can't use your Walmart gift card. So we need to start connecting the dots to say, does this sound legit? Because if it doesn't, then it isn't. And we need to call them back. But just know that whoever is calling you, they might tell you, I'm the only person assigned to your case. You can only call me. That is false from any government agency. It is absolutely false. And you should be able to call them back, Google the number, call a trusted friend, go, hey, help me track down this phone number. Social Security offices are in every town, every big city. So Lincoln's got one, Omaha's got one. You could go specifically to the office of Social Security and things like that. So you could track those things down where you do not have to talk to the person on the phone. So hang up on them, call back. So you can report Social Security issues at ssa.gov. There's a way to report scammers. If you've already paid a scammer with the gift card or your bank account, you've given them your bank account number, please call your bank. They'll put stop payments on there. They'll try to track that. It's really, really good idea. So like UBT and most banks, if not all banks, we have a representative from LPD that we work with. And that's why I interviewed on my podcast. So we work with this guy all the time. So if you report to us that there was a Social Security scam and that you gave them your account number, we're going to report back to LPD that this is happening, or we're going to tell you to call and we're going to give you the number. So it's a really good idea to call your financial institution because the police will be notified of this also because it's happening all the time. And the more we can track it, the more they can track phone numbers and where any fraud is coming out of your account, things like that. So they know how to get your money back. Money mule scams. I'm going to breeze through this one. Money mule scams. What this is somebody's going to offer you a job to move dirty money to make it clean. Okay. A lot of this is happening through signage that's out on street corners that say, make fast cash now, or work from home, work part-time, make $4,000 a week. Just these unbelievable job offers that people are offering. It's often money mules. So they're going to give you a bunch of money and have you put in your account and then pay them back. That's really the essence of what money mules work, how they work. They may offer job titles like mystery shopper, interns, money transfer agents, tutors, but essentially they're going to either charge you to start the job. So they're making money that way. They're making money off of you. You should never have to pay anything to start a job. That should be a red flag. Or they're going to say, hey, set up an account and we're going to give you a bunch of money, $5,000. You send us $3,000 back. That same process that we talked about in earlier scams. So anytime you see any of these things, or somebody's contacting you saying, we saw your resume online and we want to hire you. People don't typically hire you just because they saw a resume. Even if your resume is posted on legit resume sites, people don't just hire you because they saw that. They want to talk to you. There's interviews, things like that. A lot of the money mule situations that we're seeing here in Nebraska, the companies outside of the US, so you always work from home. You'll never see someone physically who you're supposed to be working for. The job is done online and you get paid for very little work. So it sounds appealing to be paid a lot of money to do very little, but it's often going to be that you're moving this money around. They'll ask for a bank account number right away. They'll ask you to get a new bank account number. They'll ask you to follow instructions to transfer funds back and forth. They'll say, hey, we're going to send you, $5 just for, just to see, if it works, and you send us the money back. And again, it's that whole, once it clears, you've already sent the money back. It's not going to clear. And so you're spending money out of your own pocket to pay them. You may be asked to deposit a check and immediately return the funds through a wire transfer. Again, it's that whole clearance. It takes a couple of days to move money from one bank account to another. So that's the essence of the money mules. So basically, don't accept jobs that ask you to transfer money. Real corporations don't do that. Real companies don't do that. There's never a job to move money. That doesn't exist. It's a scam. Never send money to collect a prize or lottery. There's mailers that go out or people that call that say, hey, you won the Nebraska lottery. You need to send us $5,000 so that we can process everything and then we'll send you your millions. That's false. You'll never have to pay for a prize that you won. You'll never have to pay for a lottery that you legitimately won. So never send money to secure a prize or lottery. Never release your online or mobile banking credentials. This goes across the board. And then if you've already transferred money or released those credentials, contact your bank immediately. Again, there's a way to report that online, ftc.gov/complaint. If you've released your financial stuff, call your bank. They'll put a freeze on that. You could actually call the credit bureaus. So one of the three, and they'll put a freeze on your credit. Which means no one can open up any loans or credit cards or accounts in your name based off your credit. So that's really important. That's what I would advise you to do right away if you called me to ask me a question. A freeze just means nobody can do anything until you request it otherwise. And there's some security authorizations that allow you to request that, or they're gonna check on to make sure it's you. But it's a very secure way of doing that. So it's a good idea to put a freeze on your account. Nobody can open up anything in your name. And then if somebody does, they can track that and figure out where the fraudster is. So I would suggest doing that if you can. Any questions on that? Okay, phishing scams. This is another one. This is the last one of our scam series. And I apologize, we're running late. So after this, if you have to go, it's fine. I have Investing 101. And what I can actually do is just I'll do this. I'm going to send Thomas the video of Investing 101. It's a really good presentation. I don't want to just breeze through it. So I'll record that and get that out to everyone. So if you're interested in learning about investing, just some vocabulary, how to get started, it's a really good webinar to sit through. So we'll just finish off this and then we'll end it. So phishing scams. So in 2019, so before COVID, the FBI reported that Americans lost $30 million to phishing scams online. So what this is phishing attempts through email, text message, or phone calls. So what these are if any of you have ever received on your phone a text message that said,
exactly. Oh wait, whoops.
There's a problem with your account. Sign in here, and they send you a link. And it's got weird numbers and letters and exclamation points and pound signs or anything like that. That's a fraud. And what that is when you click on it, the fraudsters are able to get into your phone or your computer and start stealing your information. So this is coming in email form, text message, and phone calls. So here's what they are looking for. You may have to put in some information on the websites if you click on them. Here's an example to kind of make this more clear. I bought something off Target one day off the app. And like normal, just a normal thing that I do. And probably a day after, I got a text message that said, this is target.com. There's a problem with your payment through your account. So somehow a scammer had hacked into Target and found out, I'm sure I wasn't the only one, but somehow they got information that I had just bought something from Target. And so they sent me a text that said, this is target.com. There's a problem with your account. Click here to clear it up. Now I knew about this, so I did not click on that because the website that they wanted me to click on had nothing to do with Target. It was just a bunch of letters and numbers. So what I did was I went back to my app and I looked at my payments for my orders and everything had cleared. So I knew that that was a phishing scam. Now, had I clicked on that, I probably would have been redirected to a website that looked like Target's website, and it would have had me sign in, which means I'm giving them my online credentials for Target. I have my credit card saved on target.com under my credentials, so they could use my credentials that now I'm giving them on this website to sign in and take my information. That's what a phishing scam is. When you click on the link, they're tracking everything. So you may even have to put in your birth date or your social security number, and they're tracking that. And now they get to use it. So if you ever get those emails that say problem with your account or click here for a discount and it's some website you've never heard of or anything like that, you don't click it. Do not click it. What you should do is go to the original claim that they're saying. So if you bought something off Walmart.com, Target, Amazon, go to the app, go back to where you started, check your account, see if there's any problem. Call Target, call Walmart. They'll check in on that. Don't click on the link that you're being given. Another thing with emails is if you get an email and it has that link, if you just hover your mouse over the link, there'll be a little tiny pop-up that shows the website again. And that will show you where it's actually going to send you, because you can call any website whatever you want. I could say click here. And if you hover over click here, I'll give you the website, ubt.com. So if you just hover over that weird link, you'll actually see where you're going to be redirected to. And if it's not target.com, you shouldn't be going to it. So just ignore that. Go back to the original account that you were looking at, the app, things like that. Phone calls, just hang up and call the company back yourself. Do not take a number from them. Same with the government employee. Don't take their number. Just Google the number and give them a call back and see what's going on. This is how we lose money, is that we're giving them our online credentials by simply signing in, quote unquote, on the website that they're telling us to sign in on. So don't fall for it. Just go back to the original website. And if you never bought anything or you don't know what this website is, you should not be clicking on it. There's a lot of people that will use the lotto scams to say, hey, you won this lotto. Click here. They're going to start asking you personal questions. What's your birth date to verify who you are? What's your social security number? You're giving them this information through this website by doing that. So if you have done that, you need to likely freeze your credit. You need to call your bank, maybe put a lock on your bank for a little while so that nothing can come in and out. But these things will definitely throw your credit for a loop because they're going to start opening up things in your name because you have given them a lot of information. So we've kind of gone through all this type of stuff. So any questions on any of this information? The scams. There are some good ones. If you ever suspect that you are being scammed with money, please call me. Please call UBT, our customer support. We'll tell you if we are or not. They deal with scams all day long with accounts or gift cards or just ideas. If you even got a call from Social Security, it's okay to call your bank. It's money related. So call your bank, call LPD, the non-emergency line. They'll connect you to the right people. There are teams of people at LPD or OPD that deal with scams all the time. And so they're going to know if that was a scam. So when in doubt, call someone, but don't fall for things. Definitely, I would encourage you to start thinking, does this make sense? If I send a gift card, does this make sense? Or why are they asking me this? Why are they threatening? Government employees are not supposed to threaten you. So why are they threatening me? I will call them back. I will call somebody else back, talk to a supervisor, things like that, but call them back. But if you ever have questions, feel free to reach out. This is how scams are being done now. It's all online. It's hard to track. It's hard to see, but it's very scary. There's tons more scams. People calling. They'll call, a lot of elderly people will get scammed on the phone. They'll literally walk into the bank on the phone with the scammer, and they'll say, there's scams where people are, someone like me puts vacation pictures up. I'm in Europe. I'm putting vacation pictures online. Well, my grandma might get a phone call and they might say, okay, the scammer will say, I'm Caitlin. It's Caitlin, and I'm in Europe and I'm stuck and I need money. Can you please send me money? Here's a good way to wire money to me. So they claim to be me. But people walk into the bank and go, oh, my nephew Johnny or my grandson Johnny is, in this other country, or they're hurt. And the scammer's literally giving them information to give the teller so that things could be transferred. And so tellers are trained to go, I don't think this is right. So when those type of things happen, if they're like, I'll just walk you through it at the bank, that's a scam. There's so many layers of scams that are happening. So when in doubt, ask your bank, call me. It's totally fine. I'm happy to track down if it was a scam or not for you, or how to deal with it. So if that is it, then thank you all for coming.